can have the Q&A session now.
I'm still very confused. But थोड़ा सा मुझे आज clarity मिला है, but I'm still building a mental model on how to. So we have this one consciousness which is all pervasive, all existing, right? That's one model. Then now we're saying there is this another level of, I don't know what the appropriate word is, which is mind-intellect combination, which transcends across bodies, but we don't know how long, right? We don't, it might live 7 bodies or might live 2, depending on when it exhausts the others. And then there is body which has very little relevance, right? Which is just an embodiment. Now for us to understand, that's the right model to understand what Vedanta is trying to teach us. 2, doesn't that sort of tell us that it's important for us to understand the mind-intellect level consciousness as well? Because once we understand that, only then we can understand or get to the self-conscious or the self-realization. Without understanding the mind-intellect, it's hard to make that leap, right? Because right now we associate ourselves with the body. That's how we think about it. First level is to make the jump to the mind-intellect, and then the next level is to make the jump to the body. But we are straight away saying that we need to think about only the self and the single consciousness. We are not talking much about that mind-intellect layer.
Okay, so no, I understand. Puneet's question here is, I think somebody's mic is on. Please put yourself in mute. Puneet's question is, we are talking about pure consciousness from the absolute angle, and from the relative angle we are talking about mind and intellect. Why are we even discussing about pure consciousness now, while we should be now going from, because we are all stuck at the physical body level, we should be only discussing more about mind and intellect, then only we can probably think of consciousness, etc. See, this is what he is trying to say here is, you are absolutely right. We have to move from this level where we are. But when he is explaining everything. At least theoretically you understand this. You understand such a possibility, such a thing that you understand. Practically, for you to go and experience the consciousness, you have to deal with your mind and intellect. So there are other chapters coming in the Gita. There is one chapter 14, which is called Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. It's purely dedicated to study the 3 gunas. And in the next chapter he is going to talk about Karma Yoga, how to act. So he will explain the mind, the intellect, how to strengthen the intellect, the importance of strengthening the intellect, all that is coming. But in the beginning, he just wants to say you are suffering because you are not having the knowledge. So therefore, you must gain that knowledge. There is a krama in gaining the knowledge. Krama means the steps. That's what you are talking about. You got it? So, but initially he must tell you why you are suffering. Also there is a question. Somebody is asked. The question is here in the group. What about the prolonged pain? Because I said pain comes, goes, pleasure comes, goes. What about the prolonged pain? Because of prolonged attachment due to ignorance. Prolonged pain is due to prolonged attachment due to ignorance. However long the pain could have been existing, if you deeply gain this knowledge, you will put an end to that pain. Physically the pain may be there. See, I explained to you, pleasure and pain is at the physical level. Right? Joy and sorrow is at the mental level. Here he used the word sukha dukkha, which is at the mental level, but heat and cold at the physical level. But when you talk about the pain of, let's say, some disease is there, so obviously it is hurting you. But inside, due to the knowledge, if you stop identifying with it that much, it won't be pain. So the prolonged pain and all that is due to your attachment. The greater the deeper the attachment, the greater the suffering. Any other question?
One other thing that you talked about was
Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah.
So another thing we talked about was identify what you can change. Right? There are circumstances. An example you gave was there is heat. Right? You identify what you can do about it, what's in your control, whether you have the ability to put on an air conditioner, put it on, and what you cannot. I think at least for me, the struggle is in the identification of what I can or cannot do. So let's say I don't have the financial ability to have an air conditioner. So my struggle is why I don't have it. My belief is that I should have it. So I keep struggling and finding pain in my lack of ability of being able to control a situation. It's not, so I think the struggle is not about whether I understand what I can do today or not. My struggle generally is about me realizing that it is out of my control and not fighting that why it's not in my control. Generally,
See, I understand your question. Puneet's question is, it's not as much that I don't understand the difference, what I can change, what I cannot change. But I'm not able to digest the fact that I'm in a position that I cannot change it now. When Vedanta says to know this, it is saying you are right now at the moment in a position where you cannot change. But if you work upon yourself, you may develop yourself to the extent where you can bring about the change. By sitting and worrying, oh, why am I like this? What has happened? Am I the very unfavorable child of God? Like this, you are not going to bring about, develop the ability also in you to change it in future. So therefore what Vedanta says is, listen man, due to so many factors, for example, one of the factors is you never worked in the direction to improve your financial condition. Whatever, or you were somebody who wrongly mismanaged your finances in such a way that you are at a loss today, so you could not afford this. Whatever may be the reasons, this is due to the past. Due to the past, I am like this today. I understand that. But that doesn't mean with the future also I am a victim. No. With reference to the past, I am a victim. You understand? So when Vedanta says accept means, with reference to the past, I am a victim. But with reference to the future, I am what? Not a victim. I can do. So I start working upon it. So the fact that the moment you understand this, you will look at it from that angle. Then you will free yourself from this pain. It's due to my own actions in the past, I have created the situation for myself today. But in the present, if I take the action, necessary action, in the due course, I will be able to do it. So where is the problem? Then you can jump back. You got it?
No, I understand that. But I think in general, at least...
So as long as people do not understand this, they will suffer. Why it's like this? Then they will say, oh, maybe Rahu and Ketu are playing. So let me go. If there is something I can do to, convince them to change their mind. So I'll go on doing all this. Yes, Priyanka, you've raised your hands.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Raju, for this beautiful lecture. My question is with regard to pain and suffering. What is the difference between pain and suffering? And the second, as I understood from the lecture, pain is a mental reaction to what you're observing, right? So it's a mental reaction to the stimuli that you're getting. That there is real suffering in the world. So it's not, pain is not just a mental phenomena. You see actual real suffering. You see real poverty, real maybe animal abuse, environmental abuse. So two-part question, difference between pain and suffering. And if you can please clarify whether pain is just a mental reaction, and then how do you think about it from the physical suffering that you see in the world?
See, instead of quibbling with words, I will explain the way I am using it. I am using the word pain at the physical level, suffering at the mental level. Now, due to certain karma, certain reasons, we are going through certain experiences. That is there. But due to our ignorance, we identify, attach with that, then we go through mental suffering. We can come out of the mental suffering. Physical pain, even if you are realized to soul, for example. Supposing, if you say that even physical pain the realized soul should not feel, that is wrong. Then you will test, during the class or after the class, you will come and poke my body and say, let me test whether this fellow is realized the self or not. Or if I say, no, he is not realized. Physical pain, you may go through, but you won't allow it to mentally affect you, which we call as suffering. You may use it interchangeably, no problem. I think you are using it interchangeably. A lot of people are suffering, etc. So, when you say, so as long as we understand the terminology we are using in the same wavelength, it's fine. So, due to so many reasons, an experience we may be going through. But it is entirely in our hands. I think somebody's mic is on again, please. So, it is entirely in our hands to see to it that we don't allow that to make us go through suffering. You understand? For some reasons, even in my class, I have had so many people detected with cancer. You understand? Who knows? In fact, there are so many people, no smoking, no drinking, pure vegetarian food, not eating outside that much. Everything they have taken care of, still they got cancer. Now, we don't know why. The only answer we have is karma. Okay. Now, they are going through some pain, physically, but because of this knowledge, they themselves have said, it has helped me a lot. I don't go through that suffering. That some of them are very cheerful, right? Similarly, you talked about poverty and many things due to whatever reasons. At the moment, this is a situation. Now, to allow that to make me suffer, that is in my hands. If I gain this knowledge and not get attached, I won't suffer. Otherwise, I will suffer. Priyanka, are you there?
Yes, Lakshmananji, can I ask one more clarification question?
Please.
So one aspect is, attachment, and you said that even in your last lecture, that attachment causes suffering. But then there is an aspect of action and reaction also, right? There's an aspect of law of causation, right? That you said that, your past actions has caused the present suffering, and you can use the present to improve the future, right? And there also the future outcome is not guaranteed. But then with regard to the cyclicity, my question is pleasure and pain. There has to be pleasure, right? Because at this constant period of pain, then it will maroon you completely. So,
that is what I'm trying to say.
The period of pleasure is not happening because, continued periods of pain can completely maroon you.
See, it is not the continued period of pain that is marooning you. It is continued identification with that is marooning you. I'll explain that. You see, there is a very interesting story. I don't know whether I told this in this class before. There was a hotel which was existing for so many years. It was doing very good business in some country. But it was a structure which was built many years ago. So they had built only one lift in the building. Now, there is not much space outside also for them to build a new lift. Everything is fantastic. Customers love that hotel. They continuously stay there whenever they come to that city. But in their remarks, the only thing they say, "Are only one lift you have. We're wasting so much time waiting for the lift and traveling in the lift because it stops in every floor, So why don't you do something about this?" So the management has to do something in such a way that the business doesn't get affected. Supposing it takes, let's say, 2 months to get the lift sorted out, and they say we'll close the business for 2 months. Customers may go to the new hotel. So what to do? So they ask for ideas. So one person who was not in such high position in the company gave a fantastic idea. He said, simple solution is, business will also continue. All you need to do is, fix mirrors inside the lift and outside the lift in every floor. What is the complaint? The complaint is time is getting wasted. Why? Because lift nahi aaya. They are all the time focusing there only. Right? So now if you fix the mirror, how do I look? Am I looking good? Hi, good morning. I look at the other person, comb my hair, get my shirt proper, all that I do. By the time the lift comes and I go down, I don't know that so much time is wasted. Has the problem solved? You are still waiting 10 minutes. But is it affecting you? Priyanka, are you there? Priyanka, are you there?
I'm there, sorry.
So,
I muted myself.
So in this example, is it affecting you? It's not affecting
No,
you.
it's not.
That's all. So all the time, दर्द हो रहा है, दर्द हो रहा है. कोई भी आ रहा है घर को, मुझे बहुत दर्द हो रहा है भाई, बहुत दर्द हो रहा है. All the time you keep on reinforcing it, it will keep on giving you pain. Shift your attention. I had no shoes and complained until I met a man who had no feet. It's a beautiful quotation. I had no shoes and complained until I met a man who had no feet. So when you consciously shift your attention towards the higher, it doesn't cause the pain that much. Physical pain to hoga thoda bahut. Whatever it is, you will take care of it. So that is the idea we are saying. You are using the term suffering and affectation. I will use the same thing. Suffering will be there, affectation will not be there. Or you come to the way I am using, pain will be there, suffering will not be there. As long as you understand the spirit. This is what you are supposed to do. And then you take the necessary thing. You go to the doctor, take the medication, you will probably be cured of it. Physical pain also will not be there. So it is through our identification, foolish identification and attachment we suffer. That's all Vedanta is saying. So many fellows you see on the road, under the flyovers everywhere, you see these children and even people, they don't have no bank balance, nothing. They are very happy. You are saying they are poor. Who's poor, who's rich? In Vedanta we say, when your assets or when your desires are more than your assets, you are poor. It doesn't matter how much assets you have. When your desires are less than your assets, you are rich. Those fellows, they don't even, in their mind, they don't even know what is future. So you are poor when in your mind there is only future, future, future all the time. They live in the present. Of course, ignorantly, that's a different thing. A wise person lives knowingly in the present. That's the thing. In their case, of course, it's a very limited example. So the point is, poverty and all these things in your head. Sudama never felt he was poor. His wife all the time felt she is poor. You understand? He was always feeling he is rich. So it's to do with your mind's identification or attachment. This is what we explain. Is this okay?
Thank you.